Welcome to Kiki and Kibbitz. It's Mary, and I'm here today with a very special interview and a very special guest. Now, if you're part of the cool crowd, you have been watching a new show on the A&E network called InmateToRoommate. Now, if you aren't part of the cool crowd, I'm going to fill you in a little bit on the premise of the show. Now, basically, it follows a bunch of people who have decided for their own personal reasons to take a roommate coming out of prison into their homes to help them reintegrate back into society. Now, this is a Matt Sharp Productions, guys, and we all know that Matt Sharp is a creative genius when it comes to reality TV. Now, Mary is totally addicted to this, and if you guys haven't checked it out, you should. Today, I have here William Steele, the breakout star of this show. And I want you guys to welcome William. Hi, Bill. How are you?
Hi, Mary. Hey, thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
And we're going to talk to Bill about some of his life experiences, because boy, does Bill have some life experiences. We're going to talk about the show and a little drama behind the show. We know Bill can't give spoilers out because we're in the middle of the season. So if you guys haven't checked out the show, you have time to binge watch. But it's really addicting, Bill. I'm telling you, from the moment I started watching, I was totally addicted. So my first question to you is, how did you adjust coming straight out of prison into filming a reality TV show?
The adjustment was pretty shocking. After 18 years in prison for nonviolent crimes, all you want to do is pretty much sleep, rest, and eat good and a few other things. But I just had cameras, with us at all times, still do. And it's pretty intense when your every last word is recorded, and it's raw footage. And as your viewers might know who've watched it, going into the house that I was in, living with a family that's not related to you. It's not a program. It's not scripted. It's the lady I was living with, Shauna, was a pen pal. So going in there and seeing how they really treated me and how I was living was completely different than her letters. Her letters were, she's a Seventh-day Adventist. They were all scripture filled and very brief, and I think me being nice to her when she was having trouble with her marriage, she began falling in love with me, unbeknownst to me, because I wasn't really feeling her like that. And so the drama you'll see on the show is how I get there, and it's nothing but stress when she learns I have a girlfriend. So.
Right, exactly. So you said from her letters, she was very religious and scripture filled. What was your first impression when you met her in person? When you met her and Mark in person, what was your initial impression of them? Was it the same as her letters, or were you like,
Well, when I met her in person, she's, very different. I'm from New York City. They're from the Midwest, and you're just a completely different personality. I am Christian, but I'm not as strict as that. And they're taking their stuff overboard to try to control people. I don't do that. I try to, be decent to people and treat them as I want to be treated now in my new life. So I was just not feeling her really at all. And she was already making, condescending comments, about, like early in about, Mary, and because she was Jewish and it's going to be an evil union and all this stuff. And I'm like, who the hell do you think you're talking to? This is the woman I love. You're supposed to be my friend. And she would just do nothing but put down, in my girl and all this stuff, and never really gave her a chance. Now Mary, who's also on the show, she's a forensic accountant. She got into UC Berkeley at 15 years old. She's thoughtful, beautiful, and she's everything Shauna isn't. And she was just over the top jealous because her end game really, as it turns out, was to be with me and go off to Hawaii with me and leave Mark in the dust, leave Mark and try to do it in a way where she could stay with her church. But I wasn't feeling that. So you'll see one of the trailers they just put out, I believe it's going to air this week, is her coming to my door again at 10 o'clock at night. Her husband goes to work. There's cameras everywhere. She knows the house is wired. And she goes to my door, and every night, can we talk? And I'm like, this isn't appropriate. You have a husband. And then I got into it with her. I said, look, I can't be with you. You're married. And I was really surprised at what they captured, because she looked like she's like devastated. I was really telling her, look, I can't be with you, So anyway, that's going to be this week. I can't give away too much more about how everything is continuing to play out to this day. So,
Right, exactly. So speaking of her control over you, the viewers will remember the rules on the poster board. Tell us about those rules, Bill. Were they really real? And I mean, no meat, no porn. What else?
Right. Well, the rules were not really explained to me until I walked into that bedroom, and then I saw how off the wall these people really are. The room was all in like feminine colors for a little girl or something. Stuffed
unicorn. You have the unicorn night light and all that. Yeah.
Right. But in the end, I can roll with a prank. I can roll with it being real, whatever their intention was. Mark said it was deliberate to test me. And I'm like, listen, dude, I don't even know you. Who the F are you to, test me?
Right.
I'm coming here to lay low, write books. I got a drama series in the works about one of my books. Who are you to try to test me? That's ridiculous. I want to just lay my head down and relax and eat and, connect with my woman. And they were on a whole different ball game. Those rules were over the top. And so some of the conversations you'll see was where I said, look, I'm from New York. Everything's negotiable, right?
Right.
So it's like I just kept saying that. I said, everything's negotiable, right? Oh, we'll talk. Well, those talks never came. And they just kept bearing down on me with these ridiculous conditions. I'd want to go to a church of my choice. They wouldn't take me there. Now, for people that might want to comment on that, well, then get your ass out of the house if you didn't like their rules. These were sprung on me that day. I didn't know about them in advance. 1, 2, I told her I was never converting to Seventh-day Adventist, although I respect their faith and I might attend with them sometime. I was not going to convert. So, they just kept it up. They would only take me to their church. It was time of COVID, I didn't have much money. I didn't have a car. I just did 18 years. Okay. I had a falling out with my family over inheritance. So we don't talk right now. And for the record, I forgive my family members. I want to put that out there. But so this is what I was dealing with coming out of prison. My mother having passed away. And I'm dealing with these lunatics that are trying to put all these conditions on me. And, so I was hoping the rules would be negotiable. But anytime I'd speak like that, Shauna especially was just so stubborn. We'll talk about it. We'll pray about it. And she would tell me, God told her this. God told her that. And I'm like, look, I read the Bible and God speaks to you, I believe, through the Holy Spirit and through conviction and, what you're supposed to be doing the right thing, but direct conversation. I don't know if she meant that, but that's what she would keep saying. I'll get back to you. Let me pray about it. And it would just be, how is the answer to your prayer always the resulting in you doing something mean to me? My God doesn't operate like that. Your result of your prayer should be, working with me a little bit, compromising, over the top. I couldn't have meat or anything in the refrigerator. I understood the pork because they don't eat pork. So,
right.
But it got to the point where I just didn't care. But the two main things was getting high and breaking the law. And I wasn't going to do those because I was on parole.
Right.
But it got to the point where like every little
and you wouldn't want to do those anyway because you don't want to go back to jail. I mean, come on.
Right. I'm over it. I did a lot of time. I was a professional jewel and art thief, stole millions of dollars. I've done a lot of time. I escaped from prison. I ended up on America's Most Wanted on their website anyway. And so I was super high profile to begin with. I was writing a book about my life and then it transitioned to get one out about Robert Durst. I was working with an A-list screenwriter in California. Right. She was nominated for an Emmy, Bettina Zilowa, and she passed away of cancer in the middle of our thing. But anyway, so I already had all these plans going on. So the cameras was something I was trying to not necessarily do, but if I could do it in a way that would help people. My book, Sex and the Serial Killer, the poster's here if it doesn't fall off, is about Robert Durst, the wealthiest serial killer in American history. It is a book that exposes him for what he is to try to help the victims. Right. It's a book that talks about how God, I believe, got me through my encounters with this guy because I knew him for a long time. And the same thing with my book about Ghislaine Maxwell, who I knew all as well. So it just turns out I happen to know a lot of super infamous people that are super infamous now. I didn't know it, of course, when I was dealing with them a lot of times. But so I'm trying to do the right thing, and all they would do is ridicule it. You can't be an author. That's unrealistic. There's a lot of RV factories in here. Go work in an RV factory. Elkhart, nice town in its own way, but it's our RV capital of the world. They make them here. So you have Notre Dame University, which is beautiful. I've done some filming there, but I'm not going to be working in a factory. You know, I'm 50 something years old.
Right, exactly.
I want to help people and really use my experiences to help kids, you know, help crime victims. I want to elevate their stories on my platform, Official William Steele on YouTube. Please subscribe. Official William Steele. If you really want to know the real me, there's a bio up there. There's a TMZ interview, your competitor, but
yes,
you're
we're
catching
gonna
up.
put all the links in, guys, for you to see all of Bill's stuff.
Yeah,
So Bill, what was your like thought processes to deal with all of the rules at the time? Because you were just moving in to their house and you had nowhere else to go, and there was all these ridiculous rules. So how did you deal with it? Like, what was your thought process? Okay, I'm gonna have to deal with this shit. So how did you deal with it?
Well, there's two sides of me, like in most people, you know, doing the right thing and then just like, you know, it's giving them a piece of your mind, you bite your tongue.
Right.
So in the big picture of things, it was a comfortable bedroom and I needed to chill out and I wasn't allowed to have any guests. So I was like, the hell with this and these rules. The other side of me was like, you know, the old Brooklyn guy with a smart ass mouth wanted to say, you know, what the fuck, man, you know, fuck you, blah, 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 go F yourself, stick them up here, you know, but I try to bite my tongue these days. But I just made light of them. I just coped with them as best I could, you know, at the time.
Right.
And I was looking for a way out. I had to get money together. I had a couple of deals coming together and I was trying to, you know, get those together. It's just crazy. So yeah, I just coped with them by trying to bite my tongue and behave. And of course I kept the people that were important to me, my attorney and my provost, always apprised. And look, this is not working out. These people are whacked out. Here's and
you had neighbors looking out for you, like we saw on the show. You had allies. I mean, did you have any other allies?
Oh yeah, I had a few. That, you know, like I can't give away too much, but
you don't have to, right?
but in the beginning, it was like I'm in an area I don't know. I loved, you know, being in South Florida and pool in the ocean. Here I'm in the Midwest. When I got out of prison, we were locked down because of COVID. So guys were dying everywhere. I'm a nonviolent offender. I said, oh man, after 18 years, I'm not going to make it out. You know, I started putting on a lot of weight just before I got out. So she would ridicule me about my weight. You know, you got to lose weight. You got to this. Oh, we're making lasagna tonight. And then it would have like twigs from freaking asparagus in there. I'm sure there's a right and wrong way to make it, but it was the most disgusting thing I ever tasted in my life. I'm like, look, I don't eat like this. My muscles are atrophied. We were locked down over a year because of COVID in my cell. Just gaining weight, not doing anything, not eating right. And I'm really out of shape and I need to get right, but I also need to eat protein. I need steak. I need protein, real protein. The hell with that animal, you know, that plant-based stuff for now. You know, I was willing to give it a try, but they were trying to force it on me. You know, so the rules, yeah, I passed by a fast food restaurant. Hey, do me a favor, pull in the drive-through for a minute, please. You know, in the beginning, my girl was sending me, you know, a couple of dollars to get by on. And they were like, no, you got food at home. And they literally would speed up past the damn place. I'm like, you freaking kidding me? Let me out then. I'll walk. I'll figure out how to get back to the house.
Bill just wanted his meat. I mean, come on. That's all he wanted was some meat.
Shauna got named the meat police.
Yes, she was the meat police. I mean, she was ridiculous.
She got named Warden Shauna, like the warden. So I went from one prison to another. Shar Nuts. You know, like she's crazy nuts.
Yes.
Nuts. Now, I didn't intend this for her, but she brought it on herself.
She did. She did bring it on herself. Her behavior on the show is what brought this on for her. So, Shauna's jealousy was a big reason behind this, Bill. Okay, so we know that Shauna was jealous of Mary and the rules and all of the ridiculousness, but toilet paper. I want to get into toilet paper, Bill. What was all of this about toilet paper?
All right. They work long hours. I'm always home. I'm trapped. I had no car. I had no nothing. So yes, I perhaps used some more toilet paper than they do. But it became so petty. We're like, you know, he exaggerated. Oh, you're using one roll a day. You know, he literally, and this was like off camera, and then it played out again on camera. He says, look, I've been keeping a ledger bill. He's like, we sit down. I'm like, what's up, Mark? I'm thinking it's something important. Like, hey, these people want you to do a book signing, or, hey, when you go to LA for a book signing, can I come with you? Because he tried to come as my bodyguard and all this nonsense. I said, one, I don't need a bodyguard. And, you know, you're not really part of the way I'm rolling because of the way you treat me. So it was just the way it is. So I didn't know what it was about. He told me he was keeping a ledger on different things in the house. But the main thing this day was the toilet paper. And I was like, so you saw some of the footage. I'm like, who the hell keeps a freaking ledger of somebody else's toilet paper use?
Thank you.
I said, are you trying to like embarrass me, humiliate me? And then he gets on this thing and says, I think it's because he eats too much meat. He probably goes to the bathroom too much. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me, dude? So bottom line, it came up that, we talk about these rules. Now, as your fans would know what these are.
Yes, those are the infamous rules.
This is the actual screen use, poster that was on the wall that I tore off, the few days in or whatever. But so that's them. There's nothing
right here, guys. Right here, exclusively on Kiki and Kibbitz. The rules. Shauna and Mark's rules. Oh my goodness.
Gordon and Shauna. So that's the rules. And there's nothing on there about excessive toilet paper use.
Right. And nothing on there about ice. Is there?
Nothing on there about ice. They started them on about ice. They had no ice machine there. They don't like ice. They don't use ice. I don't know if it's against their religion. I don't know what the deal is. All I know is there's no ice. It's like I got out of prison. There's like no ice in prison. There was a little bit towards the end. They finally put a machine, but I craved ice for 18 years. And so I was looking forward to, making some ice, drinking ice water all day long, and they never would do it. And I said, look, is there any way we can buy bagged ice or buy some ice? Oh, no, you don't need ice. It's better for you to drink drinks without it. And all these stupid health lectures, right? And some of them didn't make sense. Some did. And I was like, so they had a lot of company at one point, and I'm not going to go into who that was, but the company was asking for ice. I said, Charlie, you don't have ice in the house? She says, no. So she felt bad because they were going to be coming back, and she bought the ice machine for that company, a collection of many people.
Okay.
Come over periodically.
Right.
And so she bought it for them, but then when they'd leave, that would be hidden. So I was like, what the freak? Are you kidding me? So I was
very strange, if I may say so. Okay.
Yes, like regulating my ice. So the neighbor, if I needed, somewhere to put my meat,
right,
she was a good stash place for the meat.
Yeah, she was a good stash place for the meat.
That's Sharon. Shout out to Sharon. She's wonderful. Everybody says she's the breakout star too because she rescued me.
Yes.
The fried chicken. She
said, good job, Sharon, with the fried chicken. Yes. It coming in clutch.
It was funny. They have a beautiful cat over there, Drew, long hair, black, just like a puppy dog. That cat was so friendly and wonderful, but he wasn't allowed but a little teeny place in the house. Now, when he smelled that chicken, there's no meat in the house. Came looking for me at my bedroom door. Wow! I said, get out of here. Shauna's going to kill us both. The poor cat, like 5 minutes later, I'm sneaking in the bedroom trying to eat the chicken. All of a sudden, the door opens. It's Shauna. The cat, he freaked out and couldn't get away fast enough, was peeling out on the glossy wooden floor. Turned the corner, spun out in the kitchen. She's like, what were you doing back up there? Bill! And she's screaming out, did you have Drew up in the front room? I said, you got me and the cat terrorized. I'm gonna run away from home and take Drew with me.
Oh, poor Drew. We need to rescue Drew.
But anyway, they're wonderful, but they have them there strictly to catch mice in the yard, and the rest of the time treat them like crabs. She's kicked the cat across the room one time.
No,
yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah, literally. He was at the table begging for food or something. Mark would eat meat when she's not around. So Mark and I were eating one day, just whatever. If I said, look, dude, if I split mine with you, could I eat some meat in the damn house? Because I don't have a car and I don't want to be trapped over to a convenience store at a restaurant or fast food. I don't want to walk home 3 miles. Can I please eat it in the house? I'll share it with you. He goes, yeah, I don't care. I'll eat it if she's not around. So he was hiding from her too, doing his dirt, chasing women around at the gym and all this other nonsense he does. But so
Mark was eating meat behind Shauna's back too.
Yeah, you heard it here first.
Heard it here first, exclusively on Kiki and Kibbitz.
So yeah, he violated his diplomatic immunity from that offense. So anyway, so the meat was forbidden. You see, I was eating it. I was keeping it on an air conditioning vent, like we do in prison. We put our food up on vents to try to keep it cold if we have something.
Right.
And I'm sitting. I'm like, what the freak? I'm out in this gigantic, really beautiful house.
It's like you went from one prison to another.
Right, but it was a beautiful home. Nice in the interior anyway. The outside is ugly, as gaudy colors, but the inside's nice. And all she does is clean. And I says, it's like your appearance or your house. Perfect on the outside. I said, Shauna, forgive me because we used to be friends, but you're like rotten to the core inside. You're a horrible human being. And I didn't expect this mistreatment from you. And especially when you started dogging out my girl, Mary, that was like crossing the line. Me, I could take anything and move on eventually. Thanks for your hospitality. I got to go have a nice life. Once it's like anything else, you don't know how people are till you move in with them. And you'll see how this plays out, because I'm still dealing with them. I have to deal with them.
Right.
Still, they have their thumb on me. So there's only so much I can say. You got to stay tuned.
Right. How did you meet Mary, Bill?
Mary and I met, let me see, about 3 months before I got out. My book was already out about Robert Durst, Sex and the Serial Killer was already out. And again, it's to help crime victims and explain what things he did. So one of my best friends and my mentor is Tom Madden. Tom Madden was the vice president of NBC in New York. Well, he stayed beside me in prison and started representing me also on the book as a friend, and helped me take a college course when I was incarcerated. And so she was representing an incarcerated guy, Dave Reinhardt, freedavereinhardt.com. Please look him up.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, write him. He needs help. Anyway, so she was representing Dave Reinhardt and trying to help him get out of prison. So called Tom for some PR. And Tom said, hey, he's from Transmedia Group, Boca Raton. So Tom said, hey, I've got an incarcerated friend / client, William Steele, and he writes books, and he wrote one about Durst. So she read the book, and she told me she was so moved by it that she had to, look me up, and Tom connected us. He's a PR guy and all that now, but he's like matchmaker. So he introduced us, and we fell in love, and we got together before I got out, before I even know anything about the show, before I was offered the show, because people always speculate, oh, she's with you for the show. No, she's not. She's not a public person. So she was kind of compelled to come on the show to explain who she was, because Shauna wanted to keep painting her in a bad light, never getting to know her. I know her, I know what I know. We hit it off. I wanted a woman who was intelligent and who had a strong faith in God. I've been praying for that for years. It's no secret. You're in prison, you're lonely. It's like, what the frick, man? When is this going to end? And I said, God, the one thing, just please, no matter what else works out in my life when I get out, let me find love with a God-fearing woman who's intelligent. She's both. Right. She's light years above me. She's gorgeous. She's younger than me. She's highly educated. I'm not, but we're in love, and I don't care. Shauna, nobody's going to split us up.
And good for you, Bill.
Thank you.
Good for you.
Thank you.
Good for you. Bill, I just have to ask you, because I, researched you a little bit before we sat down, and I listened to a interview that you did. And while your crime was nonviolent, I don't understand, why did you walk off of your work detail? I just have to ask you that, because that's where you wind up serving most of your time for, is the escape.
Yeah, there was a few things going on, what we're not going to get into right now.
Right.
But primarily, my brother-in-law passed away, and we were like brothers and anything else. Nobody told me. They kept it from me, and I didn't know that they were telling my family was that I was deceased. So ultimately, they stole the house in Brooklyn and another one on the Jersey Shore, and money, and I ended up with nothing. But anyway, so I was really pissed off at them, and there were some other problems at the prison, and all these things just combined to really have me make a really bad decision. Now, I actually walked off a work detail, but because of who I am, they played it up really big. Oh, he's a professional burglar. He really clean cut. He'll get in and out of anything. He's a big threat. Well, I was trying to change my life even then. I was already trying to do the right thing. And then when I got captured and got all this additional time, I did 4 years in solitary confinement. I paid a very, very heavy price for walking off that detail. Most people, I figured, if I did that, maybe I get 2 years. I got another 15 years. I
know. It seems like you paid a heavier price for the escape than you did for the actual crime. Right. And so everybody referred to it as a draconian sentencing, draconian sentence. We've appealed over the years and tried everything we can. The judge didn't care. The prosecutor didn't care. And then even when COVID came, I was doing my time in another state because I'm a high escape risk. So the state I was in, Virginia, was releasing all nonviolent offenders with under a year. If you didn't have disciplinary because of COVID, they were trying to hold down the outbreaks, and it was killing people because you can't get away from it in prison. And they were releasing a lot of people. And so I was eligible under the criteria where I was held, but Florida had to sign off on it, and they refused to. They said, no, if he dies, he dies.
prosecutor wouldn't sign off, judge wouldn't sign off. And like Tom Madden knows the governor. We all know the Trump family. No matter who we knew, it didn't make a difference, because we can't pull favors, but we actually, petitioned everybody we needed to petition at the state level. Nobody gave a crap. They were like, nope, Florida's not releasing anybody. So therefore, even though you're up there, you're stuck. So I fell into a weird loophole, and I thought I was going to die. I've seen guys that were healthy as heck just die within a few days, and the most they were doing back then was taking the family members would write back to some of us and said, look, when they catch it, they won't even tell us what's going on or let us see him at the hospital until like he's on his last day. And then they're on a ventilator with a black box, chain around their waist, chained hand and foot. They're not giving them anything for the COVID, from the family member said, except for the ventilator, and they're all dying on the ventilator. And so if you caught it, you were screwed. I had a cellmate, a young kid. I was trying to counsel with him all the time, man, please change your life. I've been through this before. You have to do something better. I'll help you get in college courses, whatever you want to do. I was working with the administration to help guys get into classes and with the chaplain's office, and he would never do it. And he was always smoking weed and drinking wine with his buddies during COVID. And I'm like, dude, you're going to bring COVID in here, and I'm about to go home. I really don't want to die in prison.
Yes.
So that's how that panned out there.
So where do you see yourself in 5 years, Bill? What's the 5-year plan?
5 years, I'd love to have this. I've actually been offered a couple of opportunities, a drama series and a couple of movie deals just in the last few weeks. So I don't know what I'm going to do. They're very promising. They're from completely legitimate people in the industry. This is all new to me. I really just wanted to write books and do a podcast,
right?
TrueCrime channel. And I do have one starting now and some stuff up on official William Steele on Instagram and on YouTube. Please subscribe.
Yes, we're going to put all the links in the notes.
I'm trying to hit that magic 1,000 subscribers and, whatever. Then the pennies start trickling in, I guess. But I'm trying to do this and also help people. So that was where I saw myself being, is like, if you know Sean Atwood, he's huge doing this right now. He was in prison. I was on his show. My interview got 300,000 views across all his platforms. I was on TMZ. I got 7 million something views across all platforms. And I'm like, wait a minute. My stories are like way more complicated and interesting than these guys. So 5 years, I want to be telling my stories 1 day a week. And then the other 4 days a week, have other people on their stories, their challenges, true crime authors, celebrities. I have several former mobsters that are now writing books and doing movies that they're all like, look, they were really connecting with me before the show came out, but now especially, I mean, this show is exploding in the ratings. It went from 150 shows, it shot up to number 13. It's in the Nielsen ratings as one of the top reality shows on television right now. I didn't expect any of that.
It's totally addicting. I mean, it's fantastic.
I've got people telling me, they contacted me, we need you to be our influencer. I'm like, what the frick's an influencer? I don't even know what that is. So I had to look up what an influencer was. So this is all new to me. I didn't have a smartphone in prison. I didn't have social media.
All right. Bill has no idea what any of this stuff is.
So I don't know who's legit, who's not. I'm trying to figure all that out.
Right.
I mean, if there's a legitimate agent out there that wants to reach out, because I'm kind of looking for help trying to navigate a lot of this. I'm pretty sharp at figuring it out, but I also know there's a lot of bullshitters in this whole industry.
Exactly. Oh, yes, there are.
Yeah. So I have street smarts and prison smarts. So, it's going to take a really good one to get over on me. But they're out there, all of a sudden I have all these random women, hey, handsome, and I'm like,
sliding in the DMs, Bill. You have women sliding in your DMs.
Well, they're sliding in everywhere now. And so Mary said, well, look, if there's nothing but guys following them, if it's a new profile, if it's this, if it's that, there's all these red flags. Because I'm just friendly to everybody, because most true crime fans are women. Right. So I'm trying to sell books. Now, I was trying to put my book in the trash because of profanity. I'm like, you never read it. It was written to help victims. My woman fell in love with me after what I wrote. And I prayed God for the right words to not be offensive to anybody. And I let Robert Durst's first wife, Kathy's family, read the manuscript before I ever put it out. That's how cautious I was not to offend anybody with what I wrote. And they were like, it's perfect, man. Put it out. You're telling the story good. Keep Kathy's story in the limelight. She never gave it a chance, Shauna. She threw it out. She bragged about it on national television. Then last week, she put a fraudulent review on Amazon saying, this book, stinks, whatever. I put it right in the trash, too much profanity. Well, that hurts your search for the book. That hurts, you know, when it comes up, whatever.
Right.
I don't fully understand it. But anyway, so it kind of screwed me up. And, you know, a lot of fans are buying books now, but still, I don't know how to handle that. I'm trying to figure out a way to convince Amazon it's fraudulent. You know, she literally represented herself to be a Christian and a Seventh-day Adventist that she lied to Amazon, you know, that putting up a review. She puts up a review 18 months after because she's getting bad press now all over the internet.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
So let me be spiteful to Bill to put a crappy review up trying to destroy. We're trying to get on our feet still. You know, I'd like to buy a house. I'd like to, you know, really get my life back together. I lost a lot of time, you know, and you know, why would you be so evil that you would do that? I don't care. If people want to do it and they legitimately read it and say, look, I'm not into this book. It sucks. Fine. But it was really like, what the hell, you know?
Yeah.
She went to my first book signing ever out of prison. And there was media there too, because of me and the subject matter. And it was going well. And she's like in the crowd telling people, oh, don't buy the book. It's loaded with profanity. So I'm talking like me and Robert Durst spoke back then, you know, 80s, 90s, you know, and I did put language in there, but it's not like the whole book.
Right, of course. You're putting language in for the context.
Exactly.
Right.
You know, I wasn't doing it to be salacious or crude.
Right, exactly. It's just for context, of course.
And to be true to the story of how it unfolded. But so she throws it out. She's bad mouthing it. So, you know, I would hope that people are trying to do the right thing. Check out my channel. Check out my books.
Yes.
And that's what
yes,
I'm trying
guys, check it out. So, Bill, before we wrap it up, I just want to ask you, in regards to the show, are there any misconceptions that you would like to clear up?
Yeah, I think I addressed some of them early. It would be like, you know, you knew about the rules before you moved in. It's once in a while comment, you know, these ridiculous rules. Well, guess what? Those went up and I laid eyes on them the first day I walked into that room. They were not discussed. What we did discuss is, look, are there going to be anything required of me, like a curfew or, you know, anything reasonable, like, you know, common sense. I'm living in a Christian family's house, you know, representatives of, I'm not going to have late night guests or women coming and going. And plus I was already with somebody, you know, just common sense, courtesy things. I had no clue it was going to be like no R-rated movies. I have a list of movies I missed for 18 years. I had no idea I wasn't be allowed to eat meat. I was willing to work with them on the pork products. But they were over the top with this. I mean, and then like insulting me, like they know that, you know, that I'm in love with Mary. And so they're putting ridiculous things, no strip clubs or bars, you know, like really in my past life, I didn't even frequent those places. I don't even drink. I didn't even drink in the past. I used to use a lot of Coke, but I never drank. You know, I'm just reading them over now, like, you know, like exercise. Okay. So, you know, I think it's called fat shaming, you know, okay. So I'm overweight. So big deal. We were locked down. There's reasons for it. So misconceptions is like one of her relatives, this guy's a pastor. He says, oh, but you're fat, therefore I can assume you're lazy. You're this, you're that. And he's offending blindly. He's never set foot in the house. So misconception is these rules. I didn't know about them until that day when that door opened and I had the twinkly lights and the unicorns and the sign. And I think everybody who watched the show, the first episode, saw me turn and say, you got to be pranking me or something. Like, yeah,
you did. You were like, are you kidding me? Right. Like, is this a prank? Yeah.
And the other one, which I laughed because the way they did it was a couple of comments I had, and some weren't too kind. But one of them was like, on the bed, oh, what the hell did I get myself into here? You know, on day one. That's all legit really happened. So, and it's the other misconception is it's edited. Oh, it's reality television. Any show's edited for clarity and for compressing things, but nothing's out of context. It's literally how they treated me. My responses are legit. They're mine. I mean, it's just so that's a big misconception. I don't know much about reality television. Maybe there was problems with that in other shows. This one,
right? So you're saying this one is what you see is what's actually happening.
Anytime, in fact, anytime I would say, could you help me out to explain this better? No, it's got to be in your own words. Even if I would ask for a little guidance, come up. And I said, all right, I'm going to wisecrack because I'm a New Yorker and we're a little sarcastic. To them, my New York humor, joking around, was all sinful. We don't appreciate your New York manners around here.
Oh, they would hate me.
Oh, yeah. So, I'm like, it is what it is. And, I said, that's how I speak. And I'm not disrespectful. I rarely use profanity anymore. But how are you going to stop somebody from being themselves? You know, it wasn't
Right.
my humor is not to offend people. It's just circumstances, things. You
Right.
know,
Exactly.
I don't go after people. So
Exactly.
anyway, they hated it all. You know, if you weren't going to be a, you know, a stodgy, you know, dry, you know, Seventh-day Adventist, and then meanwhile they're doing all their other stuff in the background, which I can't talk about right now, and we'll see what comes out.
We'll see it. We will see it play out
Oh,
on the rest of the season, and I'm
it
sure.
gets it gets wild, and then they pretend, you know, everything's okay, and then they'll put me down. And but I can't tell you the specifics. But you guys have not seen anything yet. I'm telling you.
Stay tuned. Stay tuned, guys. Well, thank you so much, Bill, for sitting down and having this little chat with me. And I will put all of the links to Bill's YouTube channel, his books, his website. I will put it all in the notes. I'm going to put Bill's books actually in this video so you guys could see. And there you go.
That's the Robert Durst book. And this one is about my unfortunate relationship with Ghislaine Maxwell. So it's called the Ghislaine, Sensational and Impure. She's got the leaks. I'm new to this, and I appreciate you being patient with me on the things I don't know.
No, of course, not a problem. Not a problem. So thank you so much, guys, for watching. Please subscribe if you don't already. Please like and share. Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Mary.